In Bristol, you can let your hair down listening to amazing underground music, played by people that just want to have a party.
People getting their knickers in a twist about genre names and things like that. You know, what does that even mean, really? And yeah, I don't know what dubstep is anymore. I'm not sure.
I think a lot of producers in Bristol are happy kind of working with each other because a lot of the time they're kind of friends.
Well, a lot of the time I'd be playing in between dubstep DJs. So I'd have to get from 140 to deep house and then bring it back up for the next DJ. That was how I'd DJ in Bristol.
The whole landscape's changed. Everything's so much more integrated now, and there's more cross-pollination between genres and nights, and it's a real revolution in Bristol.
Bristol it's a great city to put events on. We're doing a 2020 Vision party with Rag and obviously 2020.
Are you coming to 2020 Vision tonight at Blue Mountain? My name's Rag, I live in Bristol. I run a number of parties here, including Just Jack, which is a major house night here. I seem to always have a lot of numbers on my phone. Yeah, disco and house, like, you'll like it. Yeah, of course, you're on the guest list. When something went wrong, I'd be like, oh, let's phone this person, that person, and it could be sorted out. Now the party happens.
Let's get down.
I think the reality is a lot of electronic producers, they're not these party guys. They're essentially all dudes who've been stuck in their bedroom just making beats at their computer.
You know, house music's what, 25, 30 years old, but you can still have people who come along and sound like themselves within that genre. I think that's what Matt has done. His success is maybe indicative of where Bristol is at now. You know, he's making music that is only very, very, very loosely related to dubstep. I mean, it's house music with the bass.
There's a lot of spirit here. Maybe that's part of the sound here. Yeah, definitely people sharing ideas. This is a tune I made with a guy called Bray. He just said, you know, get that guitar out. You know, if you can play it. I'm not really sure what this is, but it's definitely not house music.
One thing I try and do is as much as I can for any producer or DJ wanting to come out of Bristol, because I feel it's got a vibrant enough community, as shown with the bass music scene and how the producers work together. You've seen we've been putting on Claude Von Stroke for a while, and I have called Matt a couple of times and he came down, he gave me a CD, I got in the car with Claude.
Rag gave me a CD and he's like, these are all Julio Bashmore tracks, and I'm like, okay. He's like, no, I think you're gonna like them. And it was one of the few times where I just took it straight to my room and I put it in and I listened to it. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And so we found Matt like even before the gig, and he came down and I played the tracks, and then we just like signed them up right away.
Getting signed to Dirty Bird at the time just seemed ridiculous. I was only checking into my email like once a week. It'd be like just spam, 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 and then you see Claude Von Stroke, and then you read that he wants to sign one of your tracks. It's, I don't know, it's pretty crazy.
People who like house and disco are staying in the city because of people like Future Boogie. They've really put it on the map, European-wide and nationally, the fact that house and disco is prevalent in the West Country.
What brought us to the city was the music, really, to be honest. Like,
Oh, you can't say that.
no, it's true though. Why else did we move here?
I know, but we just sound like wankers if you say that.
But it's the truth. What was encouraging was that we felt there was a sort of hunger or an appetite for music generally in Bristol.
Future Boogie, what is it, Steve?
What is it? Well, it's a lot of things, isn't it, really? It's,
is.
It's a club night, it's a booking agency, it's a management company, it's a record label. Yeah, it's all of those things, really. Yeah, it sounds like a lot, I suppose it is quite a lot.
Future Boogie setting up their record label with Julio Bashmore is absolutely perfect.
He came in, he chatted with us, and when he left, we were really buzzing about the whole idea of doing a label again.
We want to take house music to the next level in Bristol. We're not going anywhere. And we want to start a label.
Based here in Bristol, but with arms outreached over the world, or something like that.
I like that, Dave, that's good.
Okay, party people in the house. Party people in the house.
Yeah, Peverlist, he's a bit of a legend in my eyes. He's done so much for the scene in Bristol. He thinks about his music a lot, you know? He really does. He makes the kind of oddest dance floor bangers, but at 3 o'clock in the morning on the dance floor, they just seem to really make sense.
I've always kind of wanted to do my own thing rather than try and kind of get involved in something that already exists, and that's always something that I'm conscious of when I'm making music, to kind of try and do something that's a bit different. I'll tell you what I remember about your Nova. I remember we went to that free party in Shropshire in the torrential rain with half a windscreen wiper at 8 o'clock in the morning, listening to Darren J on some rave tape.
Matt tripping his balls off, trying to get back at 8 in the morning. Absolutely no petrol. Still, we made it back, didn't we?
You know, I've got a lot of respect for what Rob did. He went to London, he heard this sound, he was like, that Bristol's going to love this.
I like uncompromising music. I think, that in this day and age, there's a lot of music out there that kind of panders to certain expectations, and I like it when things just stand up on their own 2 feet and go, yeah, sod the rest of it.
I've known Pinch for years, and he was kind of real deeper into the kind of that London dubstep thing than I was initially. He was putting on nights and people were coming down and getting involved in a real kind of underground level.
And he's worked tirelessly to establish, not only dubstep in Bristol, but also, well, internationally really, what through with Tectonic and, releases on other labels like Planet Moo and stuff like that. Very, very hard worker, Mr. Pinch.
We're just going to optimum mastering now and going to get the next Tectonic cut. Have you got all the files ready for Tech 51? Yep, they're all loaded up. Let's do those. I like the tactile nature of vinyl. I find it much more pleasurable to DJ with. I like the idea that you can touch the actual music that you're playing, your fingers on the grooves, you can see it as it's playing through, you can watch for when the breakdown's going to happen, or I don't know, it's just everything about it I just prefer.
I was living up in North Bristol, and a shop opened called Rooted Records, literally just round the corner from where I lived. Eventually a vacancy came up and I managed to get a job there.
My experience of Rooted Records is just the excitement of new releases coming out, all fighting over the rack and that kind of thing, I
was following the underground garage scene quite a lot at that time. The very early dubstep kind of started growing and more people started getting into it, and it did kind of catch the imagination of a few people who then kind of went home and started kind of creating their own music.
When everyone was getting into dubstep, that was what was exciting about it, was the fact that it was something new but rooted in the kind of UK underground.
This kind of scene grew and Rooted became a hub for that. End of last year, unfortunately, kind of circumstances led to Rooted's closure, which is kind of a big loss to the city.
When it shuts, everyone's like, man, I haven't been there in months. And it's like, well, yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, that's why these places have had to shut. Luckily, obviously, you've got the Idle Hands shop are kind of cropped up in their place to kind of carry the flame on and make sure there's somewhere you can buy records in Bristol. So I think that's a really important thing, you know.
There's this area in Bristol called Stokes Croft where Chris has opened his shop. It's definitely kind of like the place where things are happening in Bristol at the moment. There's a lot of creativity, a lot of artists who live there and musicians. Certainly where historically all the clubs have been in Bristol as well, so it's like kind of the place to be.
Bizarrely, Alison Groove has followed on the groove. Because obviously, it's his surname. I saw that the other day. Just can't get the staff these days, that's the problem.
I guess Idle Hands is important that people have a record shop to go to and develop a relationship with the people that work there, and so they can recommend music to you, and yeah, it's great that it's there.
I see a lot of people collaborating in Bristol. Actually, the first and last person I've really collaborated with was Hightail. He was maybe the first producer I heard who lives in Bristol, who had similar influences to me.
I think the thing I enjoy about collaborating is the influence that the other people around me have on me. So the creative process just starts rolling really, really quickly and easily, you know.
I reckon we should start with the...
Oh, it's hard to say, isn't it? Whether those drones there could come in later because they're so melodic. Maybe you could start with those really high
weird
things.
little pads, yeah.
And the voice, maybe, like the kind of and hats or something, you know what I mean?
You've got the unison.
Yeah, you could detune it.
One of the good things about Bristol in general is there's a healthy sense of mutual support and people are happy seeing each other doing well.
In Bristol, when you've got a city of like 600,000–700,000 people, they want to come to someone they know's party, something that people they know are involved with and the people they see, because the city's quite compact.
A lot of promoters do events together. We kind of all play at each other's nights.
And everyone's quite supportive and everyone seems to be quite happy that everyone else is doing well.
Well, the thing with Bristol is a lot of people know each other anyway, because it's a relatively small city. There's quite a bit going on, but it's all happening in quite a small area, and you'll end up bumping into people like 10 times a day on Stokes Croft and stuff, because it's a bit of a village atmosphere sometimes.
Things change quickly in Bristol, and a lot of new producers are coming in, kind of new faces popping up with new ideas. And it really feels like people want to make things happen and get involved, whether they're kind of designers or musicians or DJs or anything, you know. And that's a real positive vibe.